Somebody in the Big Six just does not like Bill Cosby. Why do I say that? Because there seems like they're making every effort to try to ruin this man's reputation and tarnish his legacy. The most recent effort in this smear campaign came on an Inside Edition I was watching yesterday afternoon. Now, Bill Cosby was substituting for David Letterman, who was ill at the time, and on the show they had Sofia Vergara, and she was just starting out at the time, and it's old footage from maybe about 10, 15 years ago, and the way the report was slanted, they were trying to say that Bill Cosby was being lecherous, Bill Cosby was being perverted, and Bill Cosby was, just being a complete pervert towards Miss Vergara. But when I looked at that footage, I said to myself, this is just Bill Cosby being Bill Cosby. He's joking and flirting with this woman the way any talk show host usually would with an attractive woman. There was nothing nasty about it, there was nothing perverted about it. This is something David Letterman himself has done with numerous black women he's had on the show, such as your Halle Berry or your Tyra Banks or whatever woman, Jennifer Lopez, all the time. David Letterman himself has done this. Jay Leno has done this. Even Arsenio Hall has done this. This is what guys do when they have attractive women on the show. They flirt with them, they joke with them, and that the makes things more entertaining for the audience. I mean, this was not a hard news segment. This was an entertainment show. And the way the media is presenting it is trying to make Bill Cosby look like some sort of perverted, lecherous man. I mean, I didn't see that at all. All I saw was Big Six media trying to twist some old footage to fit a narrative that they had regarding Bill Cosby. I look at this big smear campaign again. I see, you know, a campaign to destroy this man's legacy. You have universities who want to rescind their honorary doctorates from a man who was pretty much, made every effort to get people to get educated. You have black colleges who want to rescind their honorary degrees for a man who made every effort to bring money into their schools and actually donated money to their schools. This betrayal, from these people, shows me how who they're truly loyal to. They're more loyal to this institution of white supremacy than preserving the legacy of one of the greatest black men of the 20th century. I mean, Bill Cosby has done more for African Americans than anyone I have seen in the last 25 years. I mean, this man pretty much has, donated money to HBCUs. He has pretty much, given people full ride tuitions. He has pretty much, helped out a bunch of people. And now you have a oligarchy trying to smear this man's name because they don't like the idea of this black man, being so great and so prominent and having this legacy that people can look up to. So they're coming out, they're digging up all sorts of stuff, and they're even, like in the case of this case with this Sofia Vergara, they're trying to slant things so they can make it look like he's some sort of bad guy. But anyone who looks at all of this media sees, and objectively, like I do, sees a campaign meant to try to destroy, one of the most powerful African American icons of the 20th century. And there's no way that anybody can smear this man's name. When you look at the man's reputation and the man's record, it's unbreakable. And every effort to try to break it only makes it stronger, as I see it. Because if you have to go and dig into this deep into the sewer, it shows how pretty sad and pathetic who all these people in the Big Six truly are. I mean, come out with these, phony allegations of rape, um, and then you try to continue to compound it with, people trying to take away honorary degrees, and then you come out and go dig up some old footage from 15 years ago, and then you try to make it slant to say that it's something that it's not. Again, it shows how truly pathetic many of these behind this smear campaign truly are. They know that nobody believes this. for the most part. I mean, anybody with common sense looks at, the original allegations of rape and go, this is the casting couch. And they look at the historical perspective and say, look, this is the 1960s or the early 1970s. Bill Cosby really wasn't that famous. And if this black man had committed this type of crime during that era, you know, somebody would have put him in jail because, again, he wasn't that famous. He wasn't that well known. And, you know, all a white woman has to do is go to the authorities on this guy, and he pretty much would be doing time without just on her word. She just would have to just say something, and the police would come and get him. I mean, if we look at other cases, even with other black men like your Mike Tyson or your can't remember his name. He's the football player, um, but he was accused of rape. They put them in jail immediately. They didn't wait 30 years. And if these women had been violated this way, they wouldn't have waited 30 years. So I look at that. I look at all these cases, and it sounds like the casting couch. And anybody who knows Hollywood will tell you that when you're, up and coming, and you could be a D-list guy on a TV show. There will be, and you leave the set of your show. There will be women who will just run up on you and pretty much try to talk to you and try to get with you in the hopes of getting on the show. And you could, again, that you could be a guy who looks like Screech from Saved by the Bell, and you'll have women running up to you who wanna do things with you just in the hopes of getting on the show. And this is what they do. And at the time in the 70s, yeah, that's what they were doing. That's what women were doing, and then some of them were taking drugs so they could be out of their mind in the hopes that they wouldn't have to remember, the things that they did to get on these shows and stuff. And they're trying to turn this and twist this into Bill Cosby as a super rapist. Well, I have this to say to you. Well, why isn't anybody getting upset, about an admitted child molester like your Stephen Collins? Why isn't anyone getting upset about Woody Allen, who pretty much molested both of his children? And why aren't these same people getting outraged over your Subway Jared, who pretty much had you know, he used his own nonprofit as a way to recruit children so that he could fornicate with them. But no one wants to say anything about these guys, and they're doing things that are 20 times as heinous uh, than Bill Cosby ever did. All Bill Cosby did was commit adultery, and his wife pretty much didn't even care. So that was between them. And these women who went with Bill Cosby pretty much knew what they were doing. So how how is this, such an evil thing? I mean, I can even go on the records of all these Hollywood executives and, talk about all their side pieces and all their other stuff. And they're trying to make it look like Bill Cosby is some sort of monster. Again, I can go in and look in the history of many of these Hollywood people and find stuff that is, you know, would pretty much make you vomit when you really read it and take a look at it. I mean, if you had to look into history and find out about many of these Hollywood executives, many of these musicians, the stuff that Bill Cosby was doing would be considered, pretty normal compared to the stuff that some of these Hollywood executives, do with these expiring actresses back in the day. If you knew what was going on, again, Hollywood is like a hot dog factory. If you knew what was going on, you wouldn't want to ever, watch another movie again. But I look at this big picture, with Bill Cosby, and I just see, you know, a sinister campaign to destroy his legacy and destroy what he stands for. And sadly, many people out here are trying to believe the hype. When I look at the big campaign, I see that it's just not working as I see it. Because if you really take a objective look at all these pictures, you see that the Bill Cosby didn't really do anything. Because if he had done something, again, law enforcement would have came after him then, and they would have done something then. They wouldn't wait until now to, to go after this man. And the continued efforts to try to smear this man pretty much prove more and more to me that he hasn't done anything. Because again, all people in this United States are supposed to be innocent until proven guilty by a court of law. We have not taken anything into a court of law regarding Bill Cosby, and we have America, Americans trying to convict this man in the world, in the place of public opinion, and they know they can't win in a court of law, so they're going to try to convict this man in the place of public opinion. And I look at that as, a no-win situation. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.